everything was pulled away from you right now, what would it be like? Is your identity tied up in what you do? Welcome to the Daily Effort Podcast. My name is Sam, and if it's your first time listening, what this whole podcast is about is really giving you the things that you need to know to reach the level of success that you want inside of your life. And I'm going to be teaching from my own experience, everything that I will give as I've seen to actually be true with my own life, and things that I've seen valuable to me and have helped me reach the level of success that I am at currently. Now, I still have a long ways that I want to go. There's still a lot of things that I want to achieve. So I am far from done. But as I continue to go and continue to learn things, I want to make sure I give it to you so that, well, you can win and you can see the success in life that you actually want. And all of this is going to come down to simple tasks that you need to do on a daily basis. And that's why the podcast is called the Daily Effort Podcast. So with that, what we're really going to be covering today, what I'm going to dive into, I really want to talk about how do you develop a strong identity, because this is something that it is a topic that I am familiar with, but it's a topic that I still have a lot to learn about, and I'm diving deeper into it and doing my best to understand it. So I'm going to give you what I understand about it right now from what I've seen from my own life. And please, in the comments, drop your take on this as well, because I would love to hear from you as far as, how you view this whole topic as I dive into it. So really, my only ask though, before we dive into all of this, is if you get value from the episode, just please share it with a friend, share it on social media, because that's the only way that I'm able to grow the podcast. I want to continue to go out there and reach people so I can help them achieve what they really want in their life, because I'm a firm believer that you can achieve anything that you want in life as long as you're willing to work long enough and hard enough for it. So if you get value, please share it. As far as how often do I release episodes, well, I'm going to be releasing one episode a week. So I will post it on Spotify, and then I will also post it on YouTube as well. And then on YouTube, I plan on rolling out some different things on there, some shorter videos and different stuff like that. So for now, it's just one video and one episode a week on Mondays at 5 a.m. So if you're commuting back and forth, you can, take some time to listen to it. So enough about that, though. We're going to go ahead and dive in. When it comes to identity, the question I really like to pose to myself, first and foremost, is if everything was just completely pulled away from me right now, and if everything was pulled away from you right now, what would it be like? Is your identity tied up in what you do? And it's very, very, very easy to get tied up in what we do, and that's the identity that we actually take on. That's how we view ourselves. And I want to share a story about this before I dive in further and explain some things around it and give some just practical takeaways for you that you can apply to your life, whether it's in your career or maybe something to do with your family or your faith or fitness, whatever it is. But when I look back, and I've shared this story a whole lot, but for me, I wanted to go play football at a high level. And I've shared this story many, many times. And there's an important lesson in that. And I've learned a lot of lessons as I look back over my life. And I know this is going to be a lesson I continue to relearn. But I remember in high school, football was everything. It was on my mind all the time. I just was always diving in and see, how can I be a little bit better? What's a way that maybe I can get faster? What's a way that I can improve my skill sets? I train most of the time. It was at least a minimum of 2 hours a day that I would really take time to train. And I was wrapped up in that. I was very, very, very wrapped up in that. And that was a plan for my life. I was going to go play D1 football, and then from there, I was going to go pro. And for me, I was so naive to how good you actually had to be to go play D1 football. I was so naive to it, and so were my parents. To be completely honest, they didn't know any better. I mean, they played high school sports, but that was it. We did not know anything about how good did you actually have to be to get to that level and then to get to the next level. So to be completely honest, I did not have a shot. Did not know that at the time. But the big thing is I was so wrapped up in what I did. And I've talked about this a little bit, but around my junior or senior year of high school, I broke my ankle. And it actually was not playing football. I actually broke my ankle because I was skateboarding. My sister built a half pipe in our backyard. It's funny because we had this little pen in the backyard, and we grew up with chickens. And that's how you know I'm from Mississippi, is I grew up with chickens. But the chicken coop, that's where she built this half pipe. And we didn't have any more chickens. It was just basically the chicken house, and it was completely abandoned. We had all cleaned it out, and it turned into a clubhouse, everything like that. So she had just built it right inside there because it was a good space. It was a good space to do it. And I mean, it was a steep half pipe. And to be completely honest, it was not built well. But all I remember, because I was around 6 foot or getting close to 6 foot at the time, and I remember that half pipe was as tall or taller than me. It was at least as close to being as tall as me. And the thing is, like, it had a good curve to it. However, you just drop straight down. Yeah, I mean, it was just straight, not an easy, just gradual slope, and you just go down into it. No, it's like when you're going into it, you're going into it. And for me, again, I had not gone into a half pipe at the time. I was like, I'm going to do it. So I, hopped on, tried to go down it, wiped out. Tried to go down it again, wiped out. I was like, I'm going to get this. So I went down it again, wiped out. It was I probably wiped out 4 or 5 times, and around the 5th time, that's when my leg folded under me, and I basically landed on my ankle, and that's where it snapped it. And so I went to the hospital, and long story short, I had to have surgery on it. Literally went to the ER, and my dad, he was a nurse in Tupelo, Mississippi, and he came down to the ER. He looked at it. He was like, "Oh, you're fine. It's just a sprained ankle. You're okay. It's not that big of a deal." And then they did x-rays, and they're like, "Oh, well, you broke your bone, and you're going to have to come back in for surgery the next day." And I was like, got it. Okay, cool. And I remember sitting in the hospital, in the ER, and I remember looking over at my mom, and I can just remember it. I was just like, well, I don't know. I guess God doesn't want me to play football. And I just remember sitting there thinking about, what do I do now? What's next? Because football was everything to me. And at that point, I knew it was over. It's like I didn't have a shot. I knew I had a very small shot as it was, and that just completely pulled the rug right out from up under me. And for me, it was pretty devastating, because I'd already been to certain junior colleges and wanted to see if I could play there, and they were saying, well, you're homeschooled, you don't have film, so no. So I'd already been getting a lot of no's, and then for that to happen, it was very, very devastating for me at that time. So I had surgery, got a metal plate put in my ankle. Really, I was probably out for a good 6 months, not really able to train. I worked out upper body, but that was really about it. And then the plate stayed in there a year. Then after a year, when they went in and removed the plate because it was causing me a lot of issues. So basically, I had 2 surgeries on the ankle. So I was just out for a while when it came to being able to work out. So I was behind the 8 ball so far when it came to all that. But after that, that's where I really went into engineering, because I just got talked into it, because I wanted to do kinesiology, but everybody was saying that, oh, you can't make money in the fitness industry, blah, blah, blah. And now here I am working at First Form and making money in the fitness industry. But with that, the thing is, I just didn't really have a good direction. I felt so lost because I was so wrapped up in what I did. And here's the thing. With what you're doing in life, it's a very shallow thing. when you take some time to think about it. And I'm not saying what you do is out of your control. There are things with what you do that are within your control, and you can dictate the direction of your life. That's not what with what I'm about to say next, that's not what I'm implying, that you don't have control over it, but it can be taken away from you. It's like, it can be taken away. And then what do you got? What do you got? What are you left with? And if your identity is so wrapped up, like I was, in football, that football is all I know, that was my plan, I was set on it, I was laser-like focused on it, was not just detaching emotionally and just completely, I was just unaware of how the lack of skills I actually had when it came to football, completely unaware of it. Well, we can do that with so many things in life, and then when something's pulled away, we're like, what's next? What are we going to do? And maybe you've already experienced that in your life, and maybe you've been able to work through this. But this is why having such a strong identity and knowing who you are is so important. Because it's not what you do, to a degree, that makes you who you are. It's like you decide who you are. You decide who you want to be. Now, there are things that we do in life that shape us just with our experiences, that it does help to create us into the person that we're meant to become. However, we have to really be tied down to who we are, and those roots have to be deep, and we have to come back to that over and over again, because at times we're just gonna love what we get to do, and it's all we know, it's what we're focused on, and again, maybe it gets pulled away for whatever reason, and then what are we going to do from there? And I'll give y'all another example, share another story for y'all with really kind of where I struggled with not really understanding who I am as a person, but it was after I got done with college, because I remember it was almost like a midlife crisis, because I was playing rugby and got done with engineering, and then got a job down in Jackson, Mississippi, working for Vantech, automatically out of college, making good money, pretty much almost more than anybody in my family, making $70,000. So it was great money. I had no reason to complain, but I felt so unfulfilled. I was like, okay, well, I worked for 4 years to get this degree. Now I'm here. What do I do? What's next? I had no direction with my life. I really did not know what to do. And again, for the longest time, I didn't really have to be grounded in who I was as a person, because what I did, going through school, doing that, it's like, okay, that was just kind of who I was. I was a college student. That was my identity, college student. I didn't think about other things. So the main thing to start to really pull away from this is you have to be grounded in who you are, because what you do, if that is if that is your full identity and it's what you're wrapped up in, that's a slippery slope. That's a very slippery slope. Because if what you do is pulled away from you, what I will tell you that you're left with, because with First Form, I love First Form and working there. It is my dream job. And the people I get to work with, the things I get to learn, I'm genuinely very blessed and very fortunate to go to that place on a daily basis. Never thought I'd get to do that. However, I can't let my identity be wrapped up in that. So if that was pulled away from me today, let's say I got fired. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But let's say I got let go from First Form. Okay, well, what then? Who would I be? Well, I can tell you who would I be. Well, I'm a Christian. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. It's like, well, what do I stand for? It's like, well, what I stand for is, well, I believe in doing the right thing, telling people the truth, keeping the promises to yourself. It's like continuing to put in high levels of effort on a daily basis. It's like I'm grounded in the skill sets that I have as a person. So even if all of that was pulled away, would it be difficult? Would it be hard for a little bit? Yeah, it would, but the thing that no one can take away from you is the skill sets that you have developed over the course of time, and also your values, your belief. Like, that's what people can never take away from you. And it's something that I know I need to be better in tune with, because I even know as I talk about it, and I was thinking about it as I was about to come in here and do the podcast, I'm like, I understand that I am doing my best to articulate something that I'm just starting to understand more about, but I do understand the importance of it and why it should be focused on, just based on the experiences I've gone through in my life. And it's something that I've been reflecting more on, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I know it's going to be important for you too. It's going to be very important for you to figure out who are you? Who's the person that you really want to become? What does that look like? What are the skill sets does that future version of yourself actually have? That stuff people can't take away from you by any means. They can't take that away. You can always have that wherever you go. And it's so easy for us to think the value, it lies in what we are doing, but it's not true. And there's a quote, I believe it's by Alex Hormozy, and he said, the work works more on us than we work on the work. And hopefully I quoted that correctly. But the work works on us more than we work on the work. And that's very true, because as we're diving in and doing work on a daily basis in a career, maybe in certain relationships, whatever it is that we're doing, well, that work, like, it shapes us. It teaches us things. If we truly decide to take a step back and recognize it and learn from it. And all of us, myself included, typically don't take a step back to recognize it. Just completely detaching, and Jocko talks about this. It's a superpower, and it really is, because yes, I know I've talked about we should, as humans, have an aim, something to focus on, and we do need that, but we also have to have the awareness and the discipline to pull ourselves back to really see the full picture with stuff. Because if we just go, and we're focused on the process, getting to the goal, we can be so focused on that, and then something can happen and it throws us completely off, and then we're just devastated. And then we don't know what to do, because we haven't detached to pay attention to things and maybe early warning signs that are coming. But if we were grounded in who we are as a person, then it wouldn't be as devastating. So the reflection point that I encourage you to do, and I'm also going to do, is, who are you and who do you want to be? What do you stand for? What are your beliefs? What are those values that you don't budge on? And a great example that I'll give of this is someone named Jarrett Bond. I work with him at First Form, and he's an awesome dude. And with him, and this is the funny thing. Everybody loves him, but the truth of the matter is, like, there's some people that also dislike him. Not at First Form, but outside of First Form, everybody loves him at First Form. But with that, I know exactly what he stands for and what he will and will not budge on. Like, one of the things is he does not drink, and he will not budge on that. And guess what? No one tries to make him do that. Like, no one pressures him into doing it. We just know that, nope, that's not what he wants to do. We're not going to force the issue. And even if we tried to, he'd be like, no. Because he's confident in who he is. He knows who he is. Like, he's not going to feel peer pressure to go and cave to maybe outside pressure just to conform to something that's happening, just to make other people happy, because he's very confident and he knows who he is. And you have to do that. I know I have to do that as well. Is, okay, well, you got to be confident in that. You got to be confident in, who you are, so that when pressure does come, well, you're so rooted, your deep's run so deep into the ground that you're not going to be pushed one way or another. And I'm not saying have a closed mind about things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be grounded in your beliefs and who you are as a person, because then like you'll know what you should and shouldn't do. And then also people will know where you stand. When you are grounded in who you are and you firmly stand on that, well, people pick up on that very quickly, and they're not going to try to shove the issue. They might try to shove the issue, once or twice, but then after a while they're like, okay, cool, got it. Like, that's him, he does him, we do us. That's typically what happens. So find out who you are. Who are you as a person? What are those values? What are the beliefs that you hold dearly to? Don't get tied up in what you do, because what you do can be taken away from you. It's a short-term thing. But the thing that can never be taken away from you in life is your own personal experiences, and also the skill sets that you have built. Those can go with you anywhere. And that's where the value lies for yourself, and you have to be confident in that piece. And that's why you should consistently work to get better on a daily basis, because then as your skill sets continue to get better and better and better, well, it won't matter what you do, because you can plug and play anywhere you want, because you've built up skill sets and you're going to be able to figure it out. And that's the beauty of things, when you know who you are as a person and you're confident in that, and you're confident in your abilities, you're confident in your beliefs, you're confident in the skill sets that you actually have. No one can take that away. And you can be fluid. You can be flexible. And if what you do changes, that's okay. It might be hard for a little bit, but you're going to figure it out. So that's what I have for y'all when it comes to this. And as far as developing a strong identity, how it's developed is understanding who you are as a person. And that's only going to come through you taking time to self-reflect on that. So I encourage y'all, take some time to do that. And with this topic, please give some feedback in the comments. Drop a comment on Spotify, drop a comment, if you're here on YouTube, because I really want to just hear y'all's take on this as far as, okay, well, how do you understand? What are questions you ask yourself to figure out who you are as a person, and how do you really view identity? It's like, how do you think it's shaped? What's your take on that? Because I'd love to hear from it, because I know I have more that I can learn on this topic as well. So that's what I have for y'all. I appreciate y'all listening. Again, if you got value from this, please share it with a friend, share it on social media. I'd greatly appreciate it. And then also, if there's ever anything that I can do for you and help you with, anything at all, please reach out. Please let me know. But other than that, have a great day, have a great week, and God bless.